Good evening, everyone. My name is Gorrin.
And I'm Christina Samouhous.
Looking for a laugh? Controversial comedian Louis C.K. is headed to Poughkeepsie tonight, November 3rd, for a surprise pop-up performance. The idea of famous comedians coming to small clubs in places like Poughkeepsie is not new, with names like Chris Rock coming to the Hudson Valley to test the waters with new material before embarking on his tour. Known for his sexual misconduct allegations and participation in the ill-received comedy festival in Saudi Arabia, CK continues to try to rebuild his comedy career and still pulls an audience despite his controversial background. This idea has proven to be true, with him selling out tonight's performance at the Laugh It Up Comedy Club located inside of Mahoney's Irish Pub. It is only a matter of time before we find out how CK's surprise performance material played out in the Hudson Valley.
A federal judge has ordered the Trump administration to report by noon Monday on how it plans to comply. A ruling required the disbursement of Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, also known as SNAP, funds. The order comes as the government shutdown nears a record length, leaving tens of millions of Americans without November benefits. Judge John McConnell directed the administration to make a full payment by Monday or a partial payment by Wednesday, citing contingency funds as a legal option. Meanwhile, food banks across the country are seeing long lines, and Democratic leaders from 25 states have sued to keep SNAP operating. Agricultural Secretary Brooke Rollins warns that the contingency funds will cover less than half of November's costs, but said the administration is exploring all options. More than 40 million Americans rely on SNAP for food.
What was thought to be a teen Tyrannosaurus rex fossil has recently been reevaluated to be a different species altogether. Fossils being housed in the Dino Lab and Dueling Dinosaurs exhibit in North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences seem to be the remains of the small tyrannosaur named Nanotyrannus. It's said that the creature was a fully developed adult at the time of its death. Being about half the length and 1/10 of body mass of a fully grown T-Rex, this led scientists to initially suspect the fossil belonged to a teenage T-Rex, but the specimen has several distinct features too. Lindsay Zano, a paleontologist at North Carolina State University in Raleigh, says, Nanotyrannus is a small-bodied predator designed for speed. It's very agile and has long, powerful arms larger than those of the T-Rex. It has been said that the Nanotyrannus has also had a shorter tail than the T-Rex did and sharper, less curved teeth. To determine the Nanotyrannus' age and growth rate, Zano and her colleagues, James Napoli, a paleontologist at Stony Brook University in New York, studied the growth rings present in a thin slice of one of the fossilized bones. These marks show how bone growth has slowed down and sped up with the seasons, creating layers like a tree trunk's annual rings. The researchers compared the dinosaur's growth rate with that of a crocodile, one of its closest living relatives. They showed that this tyrannosaur was not a teenager as expected, but was around 20 years old and fully grown when it died. The researchers also found differences in the development of Nanotyrannus and T-Rex skulls, particularly in the patterning of sinuses and the location of the cranial nerves that pass through bones. Democratic Governor Josh Stein of North Carolina comments on these recent findings, saying, "This is the biggest dinosaur discovery of the decade, and I am proud that it is happening right here in North Carolina." He goes on to praise the state's public universities and public museums for being continuously on the forefront of scientific research and advancement. Our paleontologists of the future have the hard work of continuing to determine the differences in skeletons of teenage T-Rex and adult Nanotyrannus.
New York State Police have arrested 3 suspects on drug charges in Dutchess County. The City of Poughkeepsie Police made the arrests after the execution of a search warrant obtained by law enforcement on Wednesday, October 29th. The search resulted in discoveries of the seizure of crack cocaine and drug paraphernalia. The 3 suspects were identified as Arnold Falgiano, Jacqueline Padro, and Steve Watson, all Poughkeepsie residents. Falgiano and Padro were charged with criminal possession of controlled substance in the 5th degree and criminal use of drug paraphernalia in the 2nd degree. Watson was charged with 2 counts of criminal possession in the 5th degree and criminal use of drug paraphernalia in the 2nd degree. Falgiano was released on his own bail, and Padro and Watson were remanded to the Dutchess County Justice and Transition Center without bail.
Travel headaches are piling across the country as the government shutdown enters its 2nd month, creating ripple effects that could stretch well into the holiday season. Airports nationwide are reporting mounting delays and cancellations, with staffing shortages hitting critical areas like air traffic control and TSA security checkpoints. The Federal Aviation Administration warns that prolonged shortages could compromise safety standards. Some airports are seeing security lines stretch for hours, and airlines are scrambling to adjust schedules ahead of Thanksgiving and Christmas travel. Industry analysts estimate the economic toll could climb into the billions if the shutdown continues, affecting not only airlines, but also tourism and business travel. This comes as Congress remains deadlocked, with no clear path to reopening the government. Transportation officials say contingency plans are in place, but they are urging swift action to prevent further disruptions. This isn't the first time a shutdown has hit Earhart. During the 2019 shutdown, similar staffing shortages led to significant delays at major hubs like Atlanta and New York. Experts warn this time could be worse, given the surge in holiday bookings and already tight airline schedules. For now, travelers are advised to check flight statuses frequently, arriving early, and prepare for long lines at security.
Jonathon Chernin here with your MCTV News Sports Report. Over the weekend, the Los Angeles Dodgers won the 2025 World Series in 7 games, beating the Toronto Blue Jays to win back-to-back World Series crowns and their third in the 2020s. Yoshinobu Yamamoto brings home the World Series MVP after pitching a complete game in Game 2, pitched 6 innings on short rest in Game 6, and threw the final 2 1/3 innings in Game 7 to bring LA the win. With the conclusion of the World Series, pitcher Clayton Kershaw has called it a career, retiring as a champion, finishing with an MVP and 3 Cy Young Awards, while winning 3 World Series for the Dodgers. Moving on to the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs, who appeared in Super Bowl last season, are currently not in a playoff spot with their loss this past weekend to reigning MVP Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. They are currently 3rd in the AFC West. The Mike Vrabel-led New England Patriots are on a 6-game winning streak, with star quarterback Drake May making a name for himself. May currently holds the highest completion percentage in the NFL of 74.1. The Patriots currently stand in first place in the AFC East with a 7-2 record. May is currently 2nd in MVP odds ahead of Patrick Mahomes. The LA Rams are tied for first place in the NFC West with a win against the Saints this past weekend with a score of 34-10. Quarterback Matthew Stafford currently leads the NFL in touchdowns with 21. As for Marist basketball begins their season tonight in Cincinnati, Ohio against Xavier as they look to build off their 20-win season last season. This is the first time Marist has faced a Big East team since November 16, 2013, when the Red Foxes traveled to Providence. Women's soccer saw the end of their season Sunday afternoon falling to Canisius in the MAC quarterfinals by a score of 1-0. They finished the season with a 6-8-5 record, and they were 6th in the MAC. Formerly 17th nationally ranked men's soccer looks to clinch a postseason berth Wednesday, barring help from across the league. Marist is currently 8th in the MAC standings. Volleyball currently stands at 6-8 and will need to win their next 4 matches in order to make the playoffs. On Friday, they begin their challenge to keep their playoff hopes alive against Iona, who they beat 3-0 early last month. That's all we have for the latest in sports.
Happy National Sandwich Day. Two brothers from Lake Gorrin have officially been arrested and charged after breaking into a former Sub's sandwich shop located in Kingston and stealing a deli cooler that is valued at over $1,000. They brought the cart to their own business, First Capital Mart. They stole the cooler from the shop formerly known as Polly Boy Hero Shop on October 17th, with the Kingston police executing a search warrant at First Capital Mart on October 29th, finding the cooler and the thieves. The two were charged with burglary, grand larceny, and criminal possession of stolen property, but were released on their own recognizance.
The governor's races in New Jersey and Virginia are the first major elections since Donald Trump's 2024 win, and both parties are making their closing pitches. In Virginia, Democrat Abigail Spanberger has led Republican Winsome Earl Sears in polls and fundraising, focusing on affordability and rejecting Trump-era policies. Earl Sears is campaigning on continuing Gov. Glenn Youngkin's record and attacking Spanberg over past controversies. In New Jersey, Democrat Mikey Sherrill faces Republican Jack Ciattarelli in a competitive race centered on high living costs. Sherrill promises to lower utility bills and blocks sales tax hikes, while Ciattarelli casts himself as the change candidate. Both campaigns have poured millions into ads, and big-name surrogates like Barack Obama have rallied for Democrats, while Trump endorsed Ciattarelli but hasn't campaigned in person. Polls show Spanberger ahead in Virginia, while New Jersey remains a toss-up.
Good evening, MCTV News. I'm Paceline Rhinehardt with your entertainment report for the night. On Wednesday, October 29th, Billie Eilish, among many other celebrities, attended the Wall Street Journal Magazine Innovator Award event. At the event, Eilish received the Music Innovator Award. During her acceptance speech, she called out billionaires, saying, "We're in a time right now where the world feels really dark, and people need empathy and help more than ever, especially in our country. If you have money, it'd be great to use it for good. Maybe give some to people who need it." In the crowd were numerous billionaires like George Lucas, Hailey Bieber, and Mark Zuckerberg. Eilish continued by saying, "There are a few people here with a lot more money than me. If you're a billionaire, why are you a billionaire? No hate, but yeah, give your money away." In recent years, Zuckerberg has been called out because of the amount of money he has and how little he gives away. It's nice to finally see someone call some of these people out. Another celeb is currently being called out because of her tacky and tasteless Halloween costume. Model Julia Fox is in some very hot water after dressing up as Jackie Kennedy for Halloween. Now, it's not the fact that she dressed up as Jackie that is the problem, it is the outfit and the stains that she decided to recreate. Fox's costume was a replica of Jackie Kennedy's pink skirt suit that she was wearing when President Kennedy was assassinated. And to complete the look, she had the bloodstains to complete it. Fox has tried to justify this outfit through Twitter, but is yet to speak out or apologize for the costume. Fox's complete miss was fortunately the biggest fail of Halloween. Many celebrities did bring justice to those who they dressed up as. On November 3rd, Diddy's request for an expedited appeal process was granted by a judge. He had only been convicted of 2 charges of prostitution, transportation, and sentenced to just 50 months in prison. For some reason, he appealed to get out of prison sooner, and if his appeals go through, that decision should be made sometime in March of 2026. In other news, the Queen of Christmas, Mariah Carey, has officially defrosted. And while I personally may not be ready for Christmas music or decorations, most of the internet seems pumped. And on November 6th, Starbucks is releasing their holiday flavors. Despite not being Christmas ready, I will be there for my peppermint mocha. And if Starbucks isn't your cup of coffee, Dunkin' is releasing their holiday menu on November 5th. That's all I have for you tonight. Back to the desk.
Thanks, Paceline. That's all we have for tonight. I'm Amanda Gorrin.
And I'm Christina Samouhous.
And this is MCTV News.